Hello, hello, and welcome to day 10 of The Money Fear is Real and How You Can Change That. This is our 30-day series here on Facebook. And today's topic is breathing in money and breathing out the obstacles that are keeping you away from money. So let's get started. Welcome, Debbie. So let's talk about the breath. A lot of people don't think about their breath. It's part of what's called our autonomic nervous system. And what that means is it just happens automatically. You know, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to use any muscles, consciously, I mean. And your body just actually does it on its own. So does anybody know how many times per day we breathe? This is a trivia question. I know. Not everybody is aware of this. We breathe between 20,000 and 25,000 times a day. I know. Astounding. So wouldn't it be great if every breath was a high quality breath? Because breathing is so important. So as we breathe in air and oxygen with the air, that oxygen is what fuels us. It's a catalyst for almost every function in our body. So energy level is just one of those. If you don't have enough energy, it's going to be tough to get through a day. But also all those other functions that we don't even think about that are happening at the cellular level are required for us to have a healthy body that supports us in everything that we do. So a little bit more about the breath. So when we breathe in, the breath comes in through the nose. This is how it should be naturally. If we're breathing through our mouth, that actually sends a signal to our amygdala that we are in danger because we're gasping for air. And as you may recall from previous sessions that we've had here, that the on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, breath is there at the bottom. So it is a must-have, non-negotiable thing that we need. And how long can you hold your breath? That's a good question for everyone. One moment, I have to get something to boost up my stand here. Anybody know how long you can hold your breath? It's about 2 minutes on a good day. Professional breathers can probably go up to maybe 3 minutes. But we're doing 1.5 minutes to a minute. Like if we're really working on it. So that's how critical it is. It's our ground zero for living. And so we need that to be as good a quality breaths as possible. When we take a nice deep breath, the deeper the breath, the better. Yeah, right, Debbie. The serious divers go up to 3 minutes. Those are trained divers. Those are like the free divers that you see that can go down 200 feet below the water. It's astounding. I've actually seen them in Hawaii. I got to meet the world champion. I can't remember her name, but she's a champion breath holder. So when we take a deep breath, the deeper the better, because when we get into the lower part of our lungs, that's when the most oxygen transfer happens. And again, oxygen is what it's at, where it's at. Choose oxygen at all cost. You will do it without even thinking about it because you and your body want to stay alive. So that's right. Debbie's saying that mouth breathing tells my body that I'm panicking. That's absolutely right. So we want to be able to get very good quality breath. Deeper breaths are better than shorter breaths. Slower breaths are better than faster breaths. Because that's actually our natural way of breathing. So all we're doing is we're just getting back to our natural way of breathing. it's kind of interesting. Now, when I was in yoga teacher training, this was years ago. Oh, Basha's here. My dear friend Basha and I took yoga teacher training together in Sedona, Arizona. So that's how I met her, and we become very good friends. So part of what astounded me in my yoga teacher training was how much emphasis was placed on the breath. And I was like, why are we doing all these breathing exercises? What is the point of this? Well, now I really understand, years later, what they were trying to tell me. And I'm conveying that to you, hopefully in an easier way for you to digest and understand. So when we breathe in, let's go through the mechanism of breathing. So we breathe in through the nose, ideally. The breath is warmed, so you might notice that it's actually easier to get a good breath when it's not cold air. When I was in, where was I at? In Wisconsin one year in January. Holy Toledo. I could hardly breathe because the air was so cold. So that's part of the function of our breath, or of our breathing. We breathe in the air, we warm it if it needs to be warmed, and then it goes down into the lungs. And as you breathe it in, it literally expands your lungs like a balloon. 2 balloons, actually, because you have 2 lungs. So not only will it expand, but as it expands your lungs, your rib cage should also expand. And if you're super tight, because you're in the fight-flight mode, because you're afraid, because you're in pain, any number of reasons why you might be tight in the rib cage, that's going to act like a vice grip or a corset, so it's going to work against your lungs being able to expand. So even though you technically have more capacity in your lungs to expand, you won't be able to because you have this corset holding on to you, not allowing you to expand in the sideways motion. Actually, when we breathe in, it's a 3-dimensional breath. So a lot of people just think it's 1-dimensional, but no, it goes sideways, it goes forward, it goes back, it goes up, and it goes down. All dimensions like a balloon. That's the best metaphor I can give you. So as you breathe in, those lungs are going to expand, and your diaphragm, so your diaphragm sits right below your lungs. So lung, diaphragm. The diaphragm should descend. By the way, so does your pelvic floor. A lot of people don't think about that because they haven't had the training. So the pelvic floor right here, the diaphragm, which is literally right here at the top of your rib cage, both of those should descend on the inhale, and when they do, the lungs can expand. So if you have been holding your breath, if you've been in pain, if you're in a fear state, that diaphragm gets really tight and hard and restricted, and it doesn't want to move. It's basically in the fight-flight mode that we spoke about. And the fascia is around it and squeezing it, so it's hard for it to move down so that those lungs can expand. So that's a bit about the biomechanics of how breathing works. So as you breathe it in, lungs expand, pelvic floor diaphragm down here, and the respiratory diaphragm, which is the one in your rib cage, they both descend to make room for those lungs to expand. Then on the exhale, good news is the diaphragm should go up, pelvic floor should go up again, and there's a whole host of diaphragmatic muscles that come in to close around the ribs and around those organs, literally kind of like squeezing. That's how you can think of it, squeezing like a toothpaste tube, your lungs to get the breath out again. So you're breathing out through a squeezing. That's kind of the easiest way to think about it. Trying not to use too technical terms here because there are tomes that are written on breathing. And I actually have taught a 3-day class on the breath. So that's a whole nother section. Oh, good. Nancy's with us, and thanks for bringing your friends. This is a good one. Everybody needs to know about the breath. Okay, so that's the biomechanics. Does anybody have any questions so far about the biomechanics of breathing? Feel free to write those in. And also, if you get any ahas or realizations, we're using the hashtag gold for gold nugget. So write hashtag gold and then whatever your realization is. Debbie is a pro at this. She's been doing those the whole series. So I'd love to know what's an aha moment for you. So we're going to start in with some exercises. Are you ready? I have a couple of them. Actually, I have 3 of them prepared. I'm hoping we can get to all of them. The breath is such a big subject, and it's so important. When you are breathing well and easily, things are going great. Your amygdala thinks, okay, hey, things are good. We can breathe. We're not being chased by the saber-toothed tiger, so we're not running and out of breath. We're not being restricted around our chest, so our lungs can move freely. We can get the oxygen we need, which is the closest to ground zero that we could possibly be to being alive. I might add, more important than food and water, because water, you could probably go, I don't know, a few days, possibly a week. I don't really know. Food, you can go a lot longer. You could probably go a month, maybe longer. But breath, there's no negotiation on that. Like, you got what you got, and that's it. And so that's why it's so important. And it's so important creating that connection to the fear state. So when you can tell your body, your mind, and your heart by doing some breathing exercises that, yes, in fact, things are okay here, the body can move, we can take time to make a nice deep breath that's very nourishing to us. Oh, okay. We're not in the danger that we thought we were, amygdala. You can cool your jets now. Okay, so we're going to start off with first noticing our breath. So get in a comfortable position. If you're driving, you're going to need to abstain from this and come back and do this later. But the rest of us who are in a safe place, you can be sitting. Actually, sitting or lying down is good, either one. But let's do sitting. Yeah, Nancy's going, she should go a month without eating. Yeah, right. That's hilarious. So we're sitting. Close your eyes and just notice. You are the observer noticing your breath. Without any control, you're just watching it. Watching it, feeling it from the inside, and noticing the nature and the quality of your breath. And just keep observing it. Good. And what did you notice? I'd love to hear in the comments what you noticed about your breath. Was it deep? Was it shallow? Was it fast? Was it slow? Did your rib cage move sideways and front and back? Or not? Did it barely move at all? Yeah. So did you notice that maybe the longer you observed it, the less stressed it may have been? That's a common phenomenon. The more we observe it, the more it regulates itself, which is really interesting because when I did a 6-day Vipassana, or not Vipassana, I did a Buddhist, it was Vipassana, Vipassana retreat. It was a silent meditation for 6 days where you couldn't talk to anybody. You couldn't even look at other people in the eyes because that was averting you from going inside. So any kind of input from the senses, including visual with the eyes, would need to take us away from being who we are when we're trying to go inside and focus and do some clearing and some inner work. So I had a point. I've lost it, but I'm sure it will come back about that. What we did is to go into the meditations, their style is to just observe the breath. So here's a bonus meditation tip for you. You can be sitting or lying down, and you just close your eyes and you just notice the breath. So your entire focus is on the breath. That's it. Maybe we'll do a segment here in our series on meditation, because that's fascinating. There's a whole lot of different types of meditation for different purposes and different techniques. I think we'll do that. But back here. So we've noticed our breath. Okay, tension goes out of my shoulders. Okay, Nancy noticed that. Very good. All right, so now that we've done the observation, now we're going to go into a technique. Yippee skippy, I have a few of them written out here. My friend Basha and maybe Kevin, they like to come on together, says it's helping them with anxiety. Yes. So we're going to start with, we're going to start with a technique to expand our breathing capacity. It is also very calming. So by the way, there are a lot of different types of breathing that are for different purposes. So if, for example, you were to do something like a breath of fire or a bellows breathing, those are very energetic, and their whole purpose is to energize you. We're not doing that right now. We're doing calming. Those are the kinds of breathing that we're going to do. And there's a lot of those. So we're picking some of our best ones here. So the first one we're going to do is a calming. So you're going to breathe in and out in this exercise through your nose only. The mouth is closed, unless, of course, you're super congested. If you're super congested, then you do have to open your mouth. Not ideal, but that's how you could be able to manage it for today. So breathing in and out very slowly through the nose. I'm describing it first, then we're going to do it. Breathe in through the nose, and you take as nice, long, slow breath as you possibly can. And when you reach the top of your inhale, you'll know what that is. It's different for everyone. When you feel like you've filled up enough as you can, without any stress. This is the key on this breathing exercise. There is no stress. It's not like, oh, I got it. It's not that. You want to be as relaxed as possible. So you breathe in as deeply as you can, letting those lungs fill up. Once you fill the lungs up at the top of your inhale, you're going to retain the breath for a count of 4. Then you're going to release the breath. And as you release the breath, there is no pushing, there's no forcing. It's not nothing like that. It's more like you just let it flow out of you, and let it flow as softly, easily, and deeply as it did when you inhaled. Then at the bottom of that exhale, we're going to retain the breath out for a count of 4. And then we're going to repeat. Everybody ready? All right, here we go. So breathing in through the nose. You can close your eyes. A lot of people find that more relaxing. So close your eyes, breathing in through the nose, nice and slow, breathing in as deeply as your body is allowing you to do today. Breathing in, filling up the lungs. When you reach the top of your inhale, retain the breath for a count of 4. I'm going to let everybody do their own counting because everybody's in a different place. And then once you've reached 4, let the breath flow out of you very naturally and organically. Just let it flow. No pressure, no forcing. Let it flow out very slowly, very gently. As it flows out, then retain the breath out. So you're in between an inhale and an exhale. Keep that breath out for a count of 4. Then take another nice deep inhale. So it's very dynamic. Even though we're doing the holding the breath out or holding the breath in, it's still dynamic. It's very flowing. So breathing in for a count of 4, breathing in, then retaining the breath for a count of 4, breathing out, retaining the breath out for a count of 4. Right. In through the nose and in and out through the nose. All nose here. We're very nosy. We just had a question. Was it in through the nose and out through the nose? Good. So as you're getting the swing of that, we're going to add one more little dimension to it. So now we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. Now that we're all pros at this, retain the breath for a count of 4. Breathe out through the nose for a count of 4. And retain the breath out for a count of 4. And then breathe in for 4. So I'm going to give you some time to do that. I'll do it with you. So breathing in for 4. Nice and slow. Retaining the breath for 4. Breathing out for 4. Letting it flow out of you. Yeah, good. And then retain the breath out for 4. And then breathe in for 4. Retain the breath in for 4. And notice as you're breathing in, there's no lifting of the shoulders, there's no tightening. It's just a nice, like a passageway for your breath to come in. And then breathing out for 4. And retaining out for 4. Good. And when you're done with that, I'd love to know how that was for you. So please make a comment for us in the comment section. I'd love to hear. Okay, Debbie says, found square, in 4, hold out 4, or hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Still makes me feel quite a bit like I'm not getting whole breath. Well, it can feel like you're not getting whole breath because if your body's not used to this, you don't have that programming right now. Well, you do have the programming, but it's being overridden. So it's like a muscle, like if you've been working out a muscle, you have a much better capacity for that muscle. You can lift more, you can lift longer, and you can lift more often. And that's the same idea with our breath. So this exercise, although it's calming, we can also add a dimension to it to make it more, to make it a vehicle for us to be able to breathe better, longer, like a muscle. So, and how you do that is ideally, you want your exhale to be twice as long as your inhale. That's why we're counting here too. So, let's say, for example, let's do it now. Let's breathe in for a count of 4. Retain the breath for a count of 4. Breathe out for 6. Count of 6. We're moving it up a little bit. Keep it nice and slow. Pace yourself so you have a breath flowing out for the entire count of 6. Then when you get to the end, hold it for 6. And it's okay if you can't get to 6. No problemo. It could take a little bit of practice. It will happen. Just hang in there. The important thing is to keep doing it. Then breathe in for a count of 4. Retaining the breath for 4. Then breathing out for a count of 6. Make sure you have breath breathing out for the entire count of 6. And then retaining the breath out for a count of 6. And then we'll take a break there. And please let me know how that was for you. I'd love to know what you're experiencing. That is a way for you to build up your capacity for breathing deeper, better, getting more oxygen into your body, which will serve you not only for every function of your body, but it also helps you to remain calmer, to think more clearer, and it's all connected to how you're going to be able to make money, keep money, invest money. Because when you're in this state of feeling calm and relaxed, then you can actually, then you're more able to do things. You're not in that state of fear anymore, or in lesser of a state of fear, but you are more able to move. You're not in that frozen state that you were before, or that state of feeling like you have a straitjacket on. Okay, so that was one exercise. We're going to do one more exercise. Okay. And this one is going to be, this is called alternate nostril breathing. This will balance the left and the right sides of the brain, and it's a very calming effect. So, a lot of different ways to do this one. The point is you're going to breathe in through one side of your nose, and then you're going to breathe out through the other side. So, let's close off your right nostril with your thumb. That's what I'm using. Use your thumb. And breathe in through the left. Nice and slow, same technique we just did before in terms of breathing in slowly and deeply and peacefully. When you reach the top of your inhale, you're going to close it off. I like to use my ring finger. You can use any finger you want. So you're closing both nostrils as you're retaining. Good. And then when you breathe out, you lift your thumb off the right nostril and you let the breath flow out naturally and organically, just like we did in our other exercise, but now it's just through the right nostril, breathing out. Then close off the right, retain the breath out for a count of 4. Good. Open the right nostril, breathe in through the right nostril. Close off both nostrils, retain the breath in for a count of 4. Open up the left nostril, breathe out through the left nostril for a count of 4. Close off both nostrils and retain the breath out for a count of 4. And then take your hand away. So what we did was one round. So one round is in through the left, out through the right, in through the right, out through the left. It is incredible for balancing your brain and your nervous system, therefore your body, your heart, and your mind. Your mind can think so much clearer. So those are our 2 techniques that we had today. If you have any questions about those, please feel free to share them with me. I'd be happy to answer any questions for you. And let me know how that was for you. Feel free to type in the comments. We're using #gold as a way to start off our comment when we have a gold nugget. Something like an aha or a realization that you've had. Just anything to share with us how that was for you. Did you feel more calm? Do you feel like you're thinking clearer? That's a big one. A big benefit of having this technique, at least in my mind. So we did alternate nostril breathing, and before that, we just did a breathing in, retaining, breathing out, retaining. It's kind of a warm-up to being able to do the alternate nostril breathing. So you can use these techniques at any time you're feeling stressed, anytime you're feeling like you're just not thinking clearly, anytime you're feeling fear, anything you're sitting down, you want to do a creative project, this is a fabulous thing to do. So recommended amounts, I would say, it really can vary, but I would do a minimum of 5 rounds. 10 rounds is going to be even better on either one of these techniques. You don't need to do both of them together. We just did them for demonstration purposes. But you can pick and choose what you like best and what's going to work the best for you for your situation. So that being said, if you would like any help relieving some of your money blocks, I call it eradicating money blocks, then you can go to a quiz that I have. It's mymoneyblocks.com. And in 2 minutes, you take the quiz, you get an email back right away that tells you, hey, here are my money blocks. And it's very insightful. So I want to thank you all for joining joining me today. Oh, Nancy says, very calming. Be better if my internet would quit clocking. Yes, I get it. We're having a lot of internet issues. But very calming. You can just keep doing that. As I said, whenever you feel like you need it. And let me know, even after today, let me know how that works for you. I'm getting reports back from people who, back from day 1 or day 2, what they've been experiencing. And it's really interesting how it's changing their life. So tomorrow we are going to talk about recalibrating your money heart set. So we'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.